Hello everyone, this is Mazan Faisal from Pharmacy Department. Today I am going to explain peripheral and integral proteins. Before the explanation of peripheral and integral proteins, we must know about membrane proteins. So as the name indicates, these proteins are linked with membrane. Membrane proteins are those proteins which interact with or are part of biological membrane. There are two types of membrane proteins, integral proteins and peripheral proteins. First of all, we discuss peripheral proteins. Peripheral means boundary. They are on external side of the membrane. They are bound to membrane by hydrostatic and electrostatic bond interaction. They are soluble in aqueous solution. The function of peripheral proteins is to act entirely as enzyme or a controller of transport of material in membrane pores. As shown in the figure, peripheral proteins are directly attached with polar head of the membrane protein, and peripheral proteins are indirectly attached with integral proteins. For example, spectrin and ankyrin. Spectrin and ankyrin are membrane skeletal proteins that provide mechanical support to the membrane. They also help to determine the flexibility and shape of red blood cells. Second, we discuss integral proteins. Integral proteins are also called intrinsic proteins. They are inside the membrane. These proteins can be monotopic and polytopic. Monotopic means that pass in a single way, and polytopic means that pass in a multiple way. The function of integral protein is to provide structural channels or pores through which water molecules and water soluble substances can diffuse between extracellular and intracellular fluid. As shown in the figure, the polytopic integral proteins that pass in a multiple way. This structure is multiple way. And monotopic. This structure is monotopic because this is crossed in a single way. Integral proteins are also called transmembrane. Transmembrane proteins are those which cross the membrane. For example, this structure of integral protein cross the membrane. The example of integral protein is glycophorin. Glycophorin is a single transmembrane protein. It was the first transmembrane protein for which complete amino acid sequence was determined. Next, we discuss secondary messenger. Secondary messenger are intracellular signaling molecules. They are released by the cells in response to exposure to extracellular signaling molecules, the first messenger. The second messenger triggers physiological changes like proliferation, differentiation, apoptosis. The example of secondary messenger is cyclic adenosine monophosphate. Cyclic adenosine monophosphate is important in many biological processes. They also help in intracellular signal induction. Cyclic adenosine monophosphate is synthesized by ATP, adenosine triphosphate, by enzymes. Carrier proteins. Carrier proteins are also called transport proteins. Carrier protein or transmembrane protein is a membrane protein. They involved in the movement of ions, small molecules and micromolecules across biological membrane. Carrier proteins are found in cell membranes. They are also found in small organelles like chloroplast, mitochondria, and nucleuses. The example of carrier protein is cytochromes. Cytochrome operate in a electron transport chain as a carrier protein for electron. In the last, we discussed advantages of membrane proteins. The first advantage of membrane protein is to perform variety of function to the survival of organism. Membrane receptor provide signals to cells internal and external environment. In the last, transport proteins help in the movement of molecules, ions through the cell membrane. This is all from me. Thank you.